Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm here today to do a hopefully quick video, unusual for me I know, showing you how I put together this dos-a-dos binding. This is called a triple dos-a-dos binding. I recorded myself making this one. I don't know if I'm going to post it. It was long and I'm just going to do a quicker version. I'm still matting this album, but as you can see, this is Graphic 45 Flutter on black artisan cardstock. So you have a book, and then on this side you have the same book again, which is, I haven't finished matting it, and then you have it here, all right? So it's 3 books in one, and it's really cool. And I had a lot of fun making it. I wasn't sure if it was going to work out. I'd seen a picture of one in the New York Times, and I really wanted to try it. So I did make it. People liked it and asked me how I made it, and like I said, I recorded it, but I kept coming back. Even while I was recording it, I kept talking about, okay, this thing is really cool, it's fun to make, but here's the thing, this took a lot of paper to make, a lot of cardstock, and I like it and it's cool, but I kept going back to what would I do with it? Why do I need this thing? What kind of an album would I make out of this thing? And you could do anything. I mean, it doesn't matter, whatever your taste is. But to me, I felt like I wasn't sure I had a real use for it beyond just the fun of figuring out how to make it and making it. So I kept going around and around and around with it. And finally, I came up with, I do have something I could do with it, but not in this particular incarnation. Now, it's very easy to make, and I'm going to show you this new incarnation of it, but I'll tell you, it's exactly the same as how I made this one with one minor variation, and I'm going to tell you what that is. All right, so again, we have 3 sections, right? 3 books. So it occurred to me that what if this thing had 4 sections instead of 3 sections? To me, that said 4 seasons right off the bat. And I think most of us have scraps from all kinds of projects that we've made throughout the years. You've got Easter and spring and flowers and weddings and summers at the beach and Thanksgiving and autumn and fall and Christmas. I mean, most of us have those things. If you've got the Graphic 45 Seasons collection sitting on your shelf, you're set. So I thought, well, it would be easy enough to add 1 more section. So I'm going to show you today how to make it with 4 sections, but I'll also tell you how to make it with 3, but it's basically the same, you just leave part of it off. This album was 5x5, which was kind of a mistake. I mean, unless you need that size. I say that only because that's part of the reason it took so much paper, because I needed a 7-inch strip to cover the book, whereas if I'd gone smaller, I could have used less paper. I needed 3 full strips of 7-inch paper to make this. Alright, so let's move on and show you where we're at. This is artisan cardstock in green, one of my favorites, and I thought it would be very suitable for a seasonal album, that every season would go with this color. So what you need to make it are 4 covers. I'm making it 3 inches square just for this demonstration, and also because I like little books. So you need, what did I say, 4, 5. You need 5 covers and 4 spines. And the spines I made 3/4 of an inch. And just a little tip. I find it hard to cut these really narrow strips of chipboard. So the easiest way to do that would be to cut, you need this to be 3 inches, right? If you cut this, instead of cutting it 3, cut it 3 7/8, and then put it back in your cutter and cut it at 3 inches, your leftover piece will be 7/8. That's easier than trying to take and cut and measure at 7/8. At least for me it is on my cutter. All right, so I'm laying this out exactly the way I would lay out any cover. Let me move all these extraneous pieces. Say this was just a standard cover. You'd lay it out just like this, right? You'd have your back, your spine, your front, with a 1/4 inch in between. If you were doing a folio, you might have an extra spine. You might have something of this nature if you were doing a folio. right? Well, this is the exact same thing. You're just adding extra pieces. So I know you can't see the whole thing under my camera, but I'm just laying this out with a cover piece in the middle, space in between and the spines, and so on, all the way across. Now, if you were going to do the 3-bay version of this, then you would have a spine in the middle. I believe I had a spine in the middle. Let me double check. I can't remember now. But it would just be the same thing, except that you would have a cover, a spine, a cover, a spine, cover, a spine, a cover, and you would lose the last spine and cover. Like you'd have 3 spines and 4 covers. But we're going to have 4 spines and 5 covers. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Alright, so I'm doing this. I've already taped these, and I'm not gonna fuss over this because my videos tend to be insanely long, and I just want this to be fairly quick so that you can see how to do it. And I've got about 1 inch on either side of my pieces. Alright, so let's just glue these down really quick. And this is honestly no different than any other cover that you've ever made, except that you're going to bend part of it differently. Right? So we're going to put down, oops, now, I always seem to end up with more on one side than the other, so I'm going to go down to 7/8 of an inch. Of course, I'm probably going to end up with that. Okay. Alright, so that's our first piece. I'm going to do a spine. And if you want to put 1/4 inch tape in between as spacers, go ahead. I usually do, but I'm just gonna, for the sake of expediency, I am just going to use the combination of my ruler and eyeball it. Okay. Alright, so there we go. So we have now our 4 spines and our 5 covers. Theoretically, I guess you could just keep going and make this as big as you want. One thing to bear in mind is, I don't know if you noticed it when I was showing you the finished one, is it makes for a fairly floppy book. It's not, it would almost do better displayed upright than on its back because it is floppy. Okay, and I'm just going to trim, I'm going to eyeball, I'm just going to trim off the extras from the ends. And trim the corners because I'm going to miter. So I'm just cutting, and I'm really eyeballing this and may come out terrible, but don't worry about it. You'll be careful. You're going to wrap this just like you would wrap any other cover. Right. So it's just a little trickier because it's so long. And I'm going to tape this, but for now I'm just giving it a little pre-crease. Use your bone folder. You want to make sure. I am rushing this just so this video is not too long, but you want to take your time and be a little more careful. I'm just running my bone folder along to make sure that it's got a crease. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to grab some tape. let's see. Let's see what I want to use for tape for this. I'm using 1/4 inch, not because it's necessarily the best choice, it just happens to be the one I have the most of. Yeah, I can see some of these are not so even, but that's all right for me. You guys be careful. As you all know, because I've told you a million times, I'm terrible at tearing score tape. But it always seems to stretch on me, but yeah. I'm just trying to do it that way, again, for speed's sake. If you have thicker score tape, I would use it in this circumstance. Like I said, I'm only using the 1/4 inch because I have a lot of it. Right. Excellent. You probably couldn't see half of that, but like I said, this thing is large. All right, so I'm just trimming a little bit. I mean, I don't want to... I'm rushing and not doing the best job, but I still want to be able to use it. Alright, so now I'm going to fold this over before I remove the tape. For such a small book, I really could have used like 3/4 of an inch extra instead of a full inch, but that's all right. You can see I've got my tape sticking over, but that's okay. All right. Now let's take the backing off. One long edge and 2 short edges on the chipboard. And just use your bone folder. That on the other long edge. Right. And again, I'm just starting in the middle, pulling that over. It's pretty easy because we already folded it over and burnished it once. To tuck these corners in on that edge. Tuck that one in. You could put tape here if you want. Since I'm gonna mat that, that's gonna hold it down anyway. All right, there we go. Whoops! Oh my goodness, I hit you. Sorry about that. tape doesn't want to come up. There we go. If you have trouble getting the backing off, just give it a good burnish. That'll usually solve it. Okay, so we have wrapped this just like any other cover, right? And looks like my paper. Oh, that's just the seam. Okay. See if I can get this under the camera. Okay, so just like any other cover, you're going to go ahead and carefully use your bone folder, get the paper down into those creases, and bend your cover up, right? So now you have a cover, like so, right? Flip it over. You can put that out flat again. You want to find the next spot, and now you're doing it from the back. I'm pretty sure you can see where we're going with this. And again, work your cover. All right, now we have two. Easy, right? Easy, easy. All right, lay it flat again. Turn it over. We're gonna do this side. End it up. Okay, so that would be the triple dose-a-dose, like this one. It would just stop right here, but we're gonna do 4. So I'm gonna flip it back over. You're gonna find the seam. Find the seam. And there we go. And now we have a quadruple dose-a-dose. Do you see how easy that was? And then you're just going to add your binding pieces into your spines. Okay, and then you can flip it over so it goes this way, however you want to go. And then you're going to take these 2 spines and just wrap them with some green cardstock, right? So that they're not visible. Or you can, well, no, I would wrap them. Just wrap these 2. These 2 you don't have to worry about, okay? And then I would also put pieces here to hide. So anywhere you have an exposed spine, just take a piece, almost as wide as the book. Say this is the book is 3, so maybe make it 2 7/8, 2 3/4. Just like that, and just glue, oops, that was my roller, glue a piece over each of the exposed spines. All right, I'm assuming most of you are going to know how to do that. You will have done it on other albums. All right, and then that's what I did on this one. I think I only had 1 exposed spine on this one. Let me see, I can see it. Yeah, this spine was the 1 exposed spine that I had on the outside, and then I had these 2 on the inside. And then you just need to decide what you're going to use for your binding method, and you can use any binding method you want. In here, it's 3/4 of an inch wide, so you've got room for 2 probably fins. I used 2 here, and I have a lot of extra room, and that was a 1-inch spine, so I think you can still get away with 2 spines, 2 fins to hold pages. And I'm not going to go through all of that. Just go ahead and find any of my videos, any of anybody else's videos, to see how to make that, because you can do it any way you like, whatever method you like. But this is how to make the cover. Closure on these things is a little tricky, and I found the best method was something that would essentially tie the book together. Let me show you how I did it on this one. And what I did is, on these 2 spines, I have a ribbon each facing inward, and then I have them crossing each other and wrapping around to close the book. And I think on this book, going to have the same situation, except that you have a flap on the outer side. So probably what I would, I'm trying to think. I think I would either attach a ribbon, let's see if I have one handy. I don't think I have one handy, but attach a ribbon here, like here, and then bring it around and tie it here, or attach two, one here, and do the same sort of crisscross thing and tie them on one of the edges. You could also do the same thing I did and put it on here. It wouldn't matter that you have this because it's going to wrap around it anyway, and use that method to close it. Okay, and of course I'm showing you, I showed you 3, this is 4. If you want 5, you could keep going. You can make this as long as you want. You could do 12, and then you'd have, you know, 1 for each month. However big you want to make this, you can make it. So I hope I gave you enough information to be going on with. Let me know in the comments down below if you need more information, or if you want me to show you putting some pages into this thing. I can do that, or I can pop up the video where I did the whole thing on here, where I did the pages and everything. So I can, you know, if I don't mind having a fairly long video, I can do that. But anyway, all right, so there you go. Dos-a-dos binding. This is a quadruple dos-a-dos binding, and you know, just eliminate a couple, you'll have a triple. All right. I hope that's helpful. I posted this in on the Facebook group for Country Craft Creations, Scrapworkers of Country Craft Creations, and a lot of people wanted to know how to make it. So this is it. Fun, right? I am definitely going to do some 4-season stuff in this thing with some scraps, and if and when I get it finished, I've got a bunch of projects I really have to do first. I'll show it to you, but if any of you do one, I sure would like to see it, because I think it'd be cool. So thanks very much for watching. Hope you have fun with this, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.